We'll definitely get that to your team, and we appreciate you looking.
Okay.
With that, I yield back.
Thank you very much. I now recognize Representative Tlaib from Michigan for 5 minutes.
Hi, thank you all so much for this. You know, I'm not on this committee, and I appreciate the chairwoman waving me on, because what I witnessed the last 2 years was very reminiscent of the targeting of Dr. King, and not only spying, but the attack on his moral character. And I know Dr. King here knows what I mean. You know, not only racializing, but using ways to tear him down, to divide the community that has been behind the civil rights movement. And so, you know, as a Palestinian American serving in Congress, I'm seeing ACLU and others representing folks right now that the government, in expressing their First Amendment, the government targeting people who have expressed their First Amendment right around boycott, apartheid governments, genocidal governments. And so Mr. Hamadanchy, right now, private citizens are being spied on. Is that correct?
Yeah, the government, through many different programs, is gathering lots of communications in Americans, and they have access to that communication without a warrant.
And have you in the ACLU witnessed them also targeting students?
I would say that I can't point to specific abuses that happen with students, but almost certainly. And one of the things we've actually seen with students in particular is the use of social media monitoring.
Yep.
So using algorithmic tools to actually monitor what they're saying on social media and then acting on that.
So what I witnessed is, you know, the targeting by the federal government and surveilling the Muslim community in the way they have, targeting people that maybe are of means, that have been investing in, you know, organizations that have been trying to end the genocide. They have approached me several times about different ways that the federal government has put them on no-fly lists, have targeted them, have, you know, indirectly or directly made accusations, again, in a way that I think, similar to Dr. King, is like discrediting them and making them kind of go silent, right? The fact that Hoover is like, he's a dangerous threat, that he's, you know, Dr. King is this or that, so that people can, again, not allow him to be in space and again tear down his character. I'm seeing that though happening to people in my own community that are standing up against you know, a foreign government, for instance, or against, you know, different kinds of form of you know, war crimes and international human rights violations. And I don't know, Dr. Hamadanchy, I know that you guys just won a case recently. You know this. And most of these students are telling me that it's not that it's the university working with the federal government and surveilling them and targeting them. And these are not people like Dr. King, who had a movement behind him, right? Still was hard, and Dr. King here could, you know, is a witness to that. But these are students that have no access to means, and they're relying on, you know, us members of Congress to defend their First Amendment right. But I think it's just important for American people to know Dr. King is the one that a lot of people talk about. But just in a few years, in 2024 and 2025, you saw the increase of campuses and organizations working with the federal government to use various means to surveil and target and terrorize students.
I would say, particularly in the post 9/11 era, we've seen a vast expansion of programs like the no-fly list, like surveillance of many different surveillance programs. And part of that is the oversight structures that we built into place since the 1970s have completely broken down.
Do you know if, for a fact, and I've asked this before, anybody on the no-fly list, anybody on campuses has been targeted, have they even been charged with a crime?
It is often the case that someone can be on the no-fly list or could be surveilled by the government without ever being charged with a crime. Yeah.
With that, I just yield. Just for the chairwoman to know, I can bring in one by one people, businessmen, women who work in the education field, others that have come to my office who continue to be put on no-fly list, not told why, not even given a process to get rid. And again, it's been incredibly painful because they feel like the government's watching them, surveilling them, putting them on a list, and they have no way to defend themselves or to be able to understand why. And I think it's something we should look into. And again, majority of them are Muslim, but they always start with one community and they'll get to the next and the next and the next because they disagree with them politically. Thank you so much, and I yield.